Plaintiffs Candace Tompkins and her husband Troy say the defendant is Candace's father, and they don't have a relationship because the defendant is more concerned with women and online dating than his own daughter. They're suing Candace's father because he agreed to buy their boat but failed to pay for it. Defendant Dwayne Myers says he's had problems with Candace since the age of 13 when she started smoking marijuana. Dwayne claims he has been there for Candace and even tried to help her get out of an abusive relationship. Dwayne refuses to pay for the boat because it was damaged.
Start with you all.
Your Honor, the main reason I'm here today is because me and my father's never really had a good relationship. He's always been more concerned about other women and online dating.
Since what age?
It started about when I was 17, he got to doing the online dating. Before then, it was about women. I mean, he got remarried. Like my mom passed away when I was 13. Mm-hmm. He remarried 6 months after her passing.
All right, and you had a problem with that?
Kinda, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And after 13 and he was remarried, you remained in the household with them?
Yes.
And what problems did you have?
At the age 16, I became pregnant. After my son was born, he told me that it was time for me to get out on my own to be with my child. Since then, I've tried to have relationships with him, and it's just always been the same thing.
All right, why don't you give me some background?
I've always tried to be there for my daughter, Candace. It's been nothing but drama. There's been...
Since age 13?
At that time, it was drugs and different things that I was trying to get her help for.
What type of drugs?
I'm not really sure. I know that she was smoking pot.
Okay. What about since then? Did you tell her to get out at 17? And if so, what do you want to say about that?
No, sir, I didn't tell her she had to leave.
Yes, you did.
It was, she had a child of her own. She moved out on her own because that's what she wanted. Mm-hmm. She had an apartment, and she let guys coming in continuously, and...
How do you know?
That's not true.
Because I was there. I come over to the apartment and helped her, trying to get rid of one of them that beat her.
All right, let's move on to the breach of contract you're suing him for.
Okay, at the end of March, me and my husband, we bought a boat. Once my father found out that we bought this boat, he was constantly asking me if he could buy this boat off of us. Well, we hadn't even had a chance to take it out on the lake or anything, so, I told him no. I wasn't going to sell him this boat. We finally, in about the middle of April, we took the boat out on the water. Me and my husband, we have no idea anything about boats. But we take it out on the water.
When you bought it in March, you intended to use it, though?
Yes, we wanted it for fishing. So we went out fishing. We were out on the lake for about 3 hours, and our behinds started getting wet, and we noticed there was a leak in the boat. So we took it home, and I called my dad up, and I asked him if he was still interested in buying the boat.
Time you find out there's a leak, oh, Dad, you still want this boat?
Well,
Go ahead. When you called him, what was that conversation?
He said he was interested. He's a very handy man. He fixes all kinds of things. So I told him to come on up to Springdale where we lived, and him and my husband could discuss it. And so they discussed the boat.
How much did you all pay for the boat?
We paid $1,500, but then we had to spend $200 on the tires for the trailer because they were tearing apart when we were driving down the road. We didn't have a choice.
All right, and you were charging him how much?
We charged him exactly what we paid, $1,500 that we paid, and then $200 for the tires.
And has he paid anything? Obviously not.
He's not paid
anything. When you ask for your money, what has he told you?
He told me that he couldn't even pay his own bills, so he didn't know what to tell me.
Plaintiffs Candace Tompkins and her husband Troy say the defendant is Candace's father, and Candace claims he cares more about other women and online dating than his own daughter.
Let me hear from you, sir.
Well, I don't believe that I owe for the boat. I went up there and got the boat from them. I told them that I wanted to check it out. they told me that there was nothing wrong with
No,
it,
he
as far as they knew. I took it out and almost sank. They told me later on that they had taken it out and they had run into a rock bed or something,
No, that's not
messed
what
the
we
motor up.
Who has the boat now?
I do. It's sitting in my front yard.
Okay. How long did it take you to find out?
It was about 2 weeks after I got it.
Okay, 2 weeks later, you put it in the water?
Yes.
And you found out it was leaking when you started sinking?
Yes, sir.
All right. And yet she says they told you it was leaking, and you said you'd fix it.
No, sir. They didn't
All
tell
right,
me that it was
this
sinking.
is what
Yes,
she's
we
saying.
did.
Yes,
And that's why it sounds a little odd that she would tell you, Dad, the boat sinks. You say, I'm going to fix it. You don't fix it. And you get out in the water and say, well, I'll just sink too. If I'm to believe you, ma'am, that's what happened.
Right.
See,
'Cause otherwise, he wouldn't know it was sink unless he got out there in it. And if you told him it was sink, he wouldn't get out there in it.
No, sir.
It's not adding up to me. But what have the discussions been since then?
Well, I told them that they could have, I told her. I didn't tell her husband. But I told her that why should I pay for something I can't use?
Sir, you want to speak?
Well, like she said, my key selling point for it was the boat sunk, because once we found out, we even posted on our Facebook, guys, we were boat out for 3 hours, had my son.
You
in the
have
boat.
that?
I
That
do
was
not
on.
have that post.
Okay.
But
Do you have anything indicating that you discussed with him or discussed with anyone
It was
that
all
it
verbal.
was damaged and that it was leaking?
No.
between him and I, it was all verbal. Came up and he said, well, it's probably just a bilge pump or something simple. I said, I know nothing about boats, but we were, like I said.
But the fact is, you all knew it was sinking.
Yes, sir.
And you sold it to him because what?
Because it was sinking, because he could fix it.
I got
Because
it.
he
You're
said he could
right.
fix
I
it.
agree. All right. I'm going to dismiss your case, and I'm going to order that you grant possession of the boat to them, because I do not believe, it does not make sense, it is not reasonable that you would tell him it sinks and he doesn't fix it before getting in the water. That is totally unreasonable. I do not believe it. So I'm going to dismiss your case and bid you all a good day.
You're lying.
No, I'm not.
Really? And what about Charlie and Graham saying that you went out on the boat with them, and Crystal telling us that you have the boat all torn apart? Why would we want the boat back?
Candace.
I don't want else to do with you. You've been a piece of my whole life. I don't want else to do with you.
Sorry you feel that way.
Got a legal question? Go to AskJudgeMathis.com for the answer.